Hi, I'm Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and we're going to take a look at doing quilted embroidery on your Bernina 990. Now, this machine is something completely different than any other machine. It takes the technology that's built into the large Bernina long arm quilting machines that have the robotics, and it puts that technology into this machine. So you're going to be able to stitch out quilt patterns and have them automatically adjust for the stitch length, just like a long arm. You can adjust and morph the design so it fits in your shape, just like a long arm. So basically, it's an amazing, easy to use function that will turn your sit-down 990 into a long arm machine that has robotics, because it works exactly the same way. So let's take a look at that. To get into this function, we're going to go into embroidery, and we're going to go into our little butterfly there, because that has all of the different file folders in there. Now make sure you do update your machine periodically, because you're going to see new things pop up. But I'm going to go into quilting, and let's go in and we're going to choose a design. I think I want to go into the Amanda Murphy designs and see what are there. Look at these beautiful designs. You know, I like this one right here. That's a really pretty design. Now, first thing you're going to see is that it's too big for my machine. The other thing I want you to notice is that that is completely not the same shape as the area that I have here. I want my cork to be filled with that really pretty design. So now let's take a look at how that's going to work out. So when we look at our design right here on the screen, I know already that it's way too big, so I'm just going to take it down in size quite a bit, just so I get closer to what I want to do. Now, we're going to go in and we're going to change this. And when you change something, you're editing it. So we're going to go to the pencil. Now look at the pencil. The pencil's already yellow. What does that mean? It means we've changed something. Well, I just changed the size, didn't I, by touching and dragging it down. So that's going to be one of the things that is yellow. Yep, resize is yellow right there. So that tells me what we have changed. But now what I want to do is I'm going to go in and I want to do placement. So pinpoint placement. You can use the pinpoint placement feature when you're doing any type of embroidery, not just the quilting. So this is a good exercise for learning how to use your pinpoint placement as well. So we're going to touch pinpoint placement. Then it wants to know what type of placement I want to do. So if you're simply just using the way he is, but you want to get it positioned in a new spot, maybe the grid is perfect. You also have 3-point, but we're going to use the 4-point because I need my corners of this to go and match the diamond that we're working with. So I'm going to choose 4-point. So now you have morph and you have fit. We're going to morph it because it's not symmetrical. It doesn't just need to fit. If I said fit, it would take the square and put the square inside my diamond. I want this square to become a diamond. So morph is what we want to do right here. And you can also change the margin. So if you want it to not quite get to the edge of what you're working on, you can simply change that so it has a bit of a margin. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to choose one of the corners here. And I'm going to start with my top corner. And I'm going to move my needle over the top part of my diamond. You'll notice I have turned on my laser pointer, which is right here. So that way I can see when I get to my top part of my diamond. And we're going to just simply use the knobs to move our laser point right on that tip of our diamond right there. Perfect. Look at how that looks on the screen. It looks absolutely wacky, but that's okay. So now I'm going to choose the other corner and I'm going to move this one down to match the right hand point of my diamond. So I'm going to bring that down and then bring it over just so it matches the corner of my diamond perfectly. And again, it's looking crazy here, but don't freak out. It's fine. It's doing what it should. Then I'm going to choose this bottom, and I'm going to move that into position for the bottom part of my diamond. And I'm just going to move it over here and move it down into place. Now, do you know which way to turn the knobs? My general rule is if I move the knob and it goes the opposite way I want to, I turn it back the other direction. Works for me. Okay, and then the last point we're going to do is this bottom left part of the square, and we're going to move that up to the left hand diamond point. So we're going to get that right into position. Down a little bit. Perfect. Now we're good to go. So now what has happened is that the design has been put exactly where we want it to go. The machine is ready to accept that. And so I'm going to close this little window out and I'm going to tell it I want to go stitch it out. Now, there are a few things here that's a little bit different than a standard embroidery. First of all, quilt settings. You can have that on or off. I want it on because with quilt settings, it's going to turn off the thread cutter. It's going to turn off the tie-offs because when you're doing a quilt pattern, if you're really doing a quilt, you want to make sure that it doesn't have those things. We're going to pull up the thread. We're going to do all those types of things that you would if you were doing quilting. So we're going to leave that way and we're going to just say okay. So in this case, I'm not going to bother pulling anything up because I don't care. It doesn't matter because this is not really a show-winning quilt. But we will talk about doing endless embroidery with our quilt here in a little bit. So now it's starting to do our design and it's going to be going to town. It is so cool. Now no other machine that we have access to can do the things that the 990 does, and it's absolutely amazing. Look at how precise that is, and it's exactly right where we want it to go. Isn't that fabulous? Now, anytime you finish a design, you have the little finish flag, you're ready to go. But let's go ahead and trim the threads, and I just want to show you real quick what it looks like. Isn't that absolutely amazing? It fits exactly in our diamond, and it is just absolutely beautiful. So now let's take a look at a different thing for quilting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to edit, and this will allow me to get rid of that design, and let's go in and choose a different one. We're going to just choose a simple little quilt piece, and this is great for a border, and I'm going to actually change my hoop size to be the giant hoop because that makes the most sense. Now let's take a look at this. I'm going to rotate it and I want to get this ready to stitch out a border. So I'm going to bring it up to the top. Now all we need to do is duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. We're just going to duplicate it until we have a nice long row. Let's zoom in big so you can see it. It's going to start right here where the green plus sign is, and it's going to stitch up and come here and end where that X is, the red X. So it starts at green and ends at red. Well, that's not really going to work for me because I am a visual person that likes to start. Let me zoom out. Zoom out, zoom out. There we go. I like to start at the top and work my way down. So I'm going to select everything, touch and hold, and select all. And then down here, I am going to flip my start and stop. So now it starts sewing at the top and works its way down. That's really cool. Now let's zoom in a little bit. Can you see the space in between there? Well, that's not very good when you're doing a quilted border. So let's take a look and let's choose Match, Start, Stop. And it automatically put them down. So now they match and it's going to make a perfect border. This machine is so easy to use. You're going to love doing it for quilting and all sorts of other things. But think about it. You have a machine that can sew, it does embroidery, it can do free motion, and it can quilt like a long arm. You have 4 machines in one. You made a great choice, and I know you're going to love your 990. Make sure to come into one of our local quality sewing stores and show us what you've been working on. We'd love to see it, and we look forward to seeing you again at a later time. Thanks a lot.